This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So either through dumb luck or through some strategy looking forward into the future, Donald Trump may have appointed people that will help him avoid consequence. No. Let me restate that. He most certainly appointed people that are helping him avoid consequence. Whether that be permanent avoidance or temporary, we don't know yet. But yesterday, the Supreme Court agreed to hear the case of Donald Trump and his idea that he has absolute immunity as president of the United States, up to and including dispatching SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. They've said that. And the Supreme Court thinks that these arguments have such merit that they're going to review the lower court's ruling, the unanimous, ironclad ruling that Donald Trump in no way, shape, or form has absolute immunity from prosecution for his crimes as president of the United States. Here's what the Supreme Court wrote in accepting this case. And then we're going to talk about, for those of you maybe outside of the United States or who need a little brush up about civics and how the courts rule or work in the United States, I'm going to give you that. But this is what they wrote. Donald J. Trump versus United States. The application for a stay presented to the Chief Justice is referred by him to the court. The special counsel's request to treat the stay application as a petition for a writ of certiorari, which is a review of a decision, is granted. And that petition is granted limited to the following question: whether, and if so, to what extent does a former president enjoy presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for conduct alleged to involve official acts during his tenure in office. Without expressing a view on the merits, this court directs the Court of Appeals to continue withholding issuance of the mandate until the sending down of the judgment of this court. The application for a stay is dismissed as moot. The case will be set for oral argument during the week of April 22nd, 2024. Now, this pleased Trump greatly. I'm going to read a Truth Social freakout, but let me explain here what's going on. So the lower court, the Court of Appeals, stated that Donald Trump in no way has absolute presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for the things he alleged were part of his duties as president of the United States. So the Supreme Court could have just said, we're not taking the case, and allowed the lower court ruling to stand. They chose not to. That postpones the actual trial until their ruling, which won't be, if this is going to be the week of April 22nd, it is likely we'll hear in 2 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks. So in May sometime, we'll find out their ruling. May is already primaries are already taking place. Primaries will be ramping up at that point. We're not going to see this come to trial. Certainly not a verdict. We'll just start there. We're not going to see a verdict for this until after the election. People will be casting their votes while Donald Trump is facing legal ramifications of his criminality in this particular case. This particular case being the insurrection case, the January 6th case. But also, this gives Eileen Cannon, the judge in the documents case, absolute permission to just postpone the trial, because they've been arguing that this was official work. It was part of his official duties to take these documents as president. And this is my prediction, is going to postpone the trial, awaiting a ruling from the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court just handed Donald Trump a huge win in this. And the outcome will either be they rule in his favor, which I just don't see that happen. I don't know how that's going to happen, even though this is absolutely a MAGA Supreme Court. I would hope there would be unrest like we've never seen in this country if they ruled in favor of a president dispatching the military to murder a political rival, because that's what they would be ruling for. But that's what I don't think is going to happen. The delay is the gift they've given Trump, because even if they end up ruling that the lower court was correct, they've delayed this matter in a critical time frame. So this is what Donald Trump said on Truth Social. Legal scholars, he knows so many legal scholars are extremely thankful for the Supreme Court's decision today to take up presidential immunity. Without presidential immunity, a president will not be able to properly function or make decisions in the best interest of the United States of America. Presidents will always be concerned and even paralyzed by the prospect of wrongful prosecution and retaliation after they leave office. This could actually lead to the extortion and blackmail of a president. The other side would say, if you don't do something just the way we want it, we are going to go after you when you leave office, or perhaps even sooner. Well, at least he didn't go with the rogue cop that, yeah, there's rogue cops that do crazy shit all the time, but we have to let them do it. Otherwise, all the other good cops would be punished. That's the argument he's been making. Well, listen, you don't have to take it from me about what's at stake here and the mistake that this was by the Supreme Court. Let's turn to Michael Luttig, the Republican, the stalwart conservative judge, and what his opinion on this is. He seems stymied by the decision of the Supreme Court. I'm sure he has a far more favorable opinion of the Supreme Court and the judiciary in general relative to Donald Trump's appointments than I do. But he is perplexed by this. He is troubled by this. And here he is talking about it yesterday.
The United States Supreme Court will hear Trump's immunity case.
Well, thank you for having me with you this afternoon, Nicole. I'm just hearing this moment.
I just heard it in my ear as we threw to the...
Look, this is a momentous decision just to hear this case. There was no reason in this world for the Supreme Court to take this case. The three-judge panel of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia had written a masterful opinion denying that the president's claims of absolute immunity. Under the Constitution and the laws of the United States, there's never been an argument that a former president is immune from prosecution for crimes that he committed while in office. On the more practical level, of course, the Supreme Court is capable of deciding this very quickly in time that the former president could be tried before the election. But today's decision makes that much more unlikely.
Just explain that fork in the road. If they had refused to hear it, the appeals court ruling would have held, and the trial, Judge Tanya Chutkan could have scheduled her trial.
Yes, and that's what I had expected the court to do, as had many other observers of the Supreme Court. That's why it is very significant that the court has decided to take the case and hear it.
I want to just restate for anyone just joining us, news breaking just in the last couple of minutes, that Trump versus the United States will be heard by the Supreme Court. This is the paper that we just got. The application for a stay presented to the Chief Justice is referred to him by the court. The special counsel's request to treat the stay application as a petition for writ is granted, and that petition is granted.
And then she's going to read there what I read you first, the SCOTUS announcement. What's strange to me is that Republicans, they're not forward-looking enough. They're not smart enough. They're not adroit enough. They may get what they wish for. I mean, they won't, because Biden is not a monster. But if the court was to rule, if the Supreme Court was to rule, yeah, Donald Trump's right. A president has absolute immunity. And absolutely, a president could dispatch SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. If that's the case, and they worried that Joe Biden was such a scoundrel, wouldn't they worry that that's what he's going to do as soon as this ruling comes out in May? The fact is, they don't believe that. mean, they don't believe it because they'll talk out of one side of their mouth that Donald Trump is absolutely immune from prosecution because he was president, yet they're gunning for a president currently who is the sitting United States president, that if a president has absolute immunity, then why are they going after him? Why is impeachment a thing? Why are high crimes and misdemeanors listed in the Constitution as a predicate for removing a president of the United States? It just, none of it makes any sense. All of it is for chaos sake. That's it. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. I would invite your participation in this conversation. We can mix it up in the comments. That'll trigger YouTube to share this channel and my content with new viewers. You can have new friends in the comment section. If you appreciate what I do, click that join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. You can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. You can follow me on social media. Make sure you're subscribed, like, comment, share this video, all those things. It becomes white noise at some point. I know it's almost white noise for me to say it. I love and appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get through this. I have faith. I am confident. I have optimism about the matter. So maybe if you just want to just imbue yourself with my confidence, I've got enough to go around. Love and appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.